as an extension to our Insectigations program, we talked about collecting for aquatic insects. So think about, we looked in a wooded or a forest habitat, we looked in an open kind of grassy field habitat. So if you want to expand on that a little bit, you can look in an aquatic habitat, because we said a lot of insects are found in or near the water. Does anybody know why? A lot of insects lay their eggs in the water. And so the water is a key component of their life cycle. So water is a great place to look if you can do it. So if you have a water resource somewhere on your school property or somewhere on where you live, this is a really fun extension to the program, and it gets into a whole nother type of insect community when you're looking in the water. You're going to need just a few simple tools. The things that I'm going to show you are the things that we use here. You don't have to have this exact stuff, but if you can find some kind of a net, you can usually buy these at pet stores and stuff in the fish or the aquarium section, and these are very, very inexpensive. So a net is great because that's going to help you scoop to catch things with, right? So you're going to use that to scoop in the water, whether you're scooping up debris like leaf litter and stuff like that, or getting down near the kind of the silty bottom of the water. This is a great way to catch things. Find some type of a container that you can put some water in. And what I normally do is the first thing is I take a tub like this or a container and I put some water in it. Because if you are collecting and studying aquatic insects, the most important thing is they need water to live in, right? So put water in your container if you can, and then you're ready to take your net and scoop some debris and some, just get what you can out of the water, and then you're going to dump it into your water sample. So when you've got your net, there may be something small stuck on your net that you're not aware of. So you want to stick your net in the water, make sure anything that might be stuck to the netting gets off in the water, okay? And then one of the first things I do is I let everything that I just put in there settle. And once everything starts to settle and stop moving, the things that are alive are probably still going to be moving, all right? And the things that aren't are going to be sitting still. So one of the first things I do is I look for movement in my sample, all right? So now you've got your sample and you're looking for things that are moving. And one of the other tools I use is a spoon. And so I use this rather than your hands to stick into your water sample. And I'm going to look around, and when I find something moving, I'm going to scoop it up with my spoon. If you've got a little jar or container, these are the ones we use, but it does not matter. But you're probably going to want to take it out of the big water sample so you can get a better look at it. Another really cool thing to use is an ice tray. If you have an ice tray laying around, you can put water in all the little compartments, and each aquatic insect that you find, put them in a different compartment of the ice tray, and that way you get a better look at them and you can study them closer. The only other tool that I recommend is a magnifying lens. It's not required, but here at Sesqui, we catch a lot of teeny tiny things, and this really helps to see those little things like the scuds and the sow bugs, and we have little tiny mayfly here, and so this is really cool to get a better view. So if you've got access to a magnifying lens, I recommend it. And then earlier, you might have heard me mention the field guide for aquatic insects. This is the one that I use. Once again, you can go online, you can use the internet. You don't have to have an actual book in your hands. But if you do, this is a great one. This has really good pictures, illustrations of common aquatic insects that you might find, and it also has descriptions that are really helpful. So this is the book that I use. This is not the only book out there. And then something else that we also use that we're going to make available on our website with a link to this with our videos is our identification key that we use. And so this can also help you with identification with or without the field guide. If you just have this and not this, this will identify most of the things that you're going to find. I'm going to demonstrate how to sample and collect for aquatic insects, and we're actually going to do most of our sampling today down below our spillway in our creek. So you'll see us down there, and there'll be a lot of trees and it'll be a little bit shadier, but I wanted to demonstrate out here in the pond too, or the lake. And this is equally as good a place to collect for aquatic insects. So if you've got your container, your tub, your bowl, whatever you're going to use, remember I said the first thing is to put water in it. So get as close as you can to the water. I mean, obviously you want to try not to get wet yourself. A little bit of water in here. So that's enough. Okay guys, so we're looking through our sample, and I just want to show you when you find something. Okay, so you're just going to scoop it up. Remember, make sure there's water. And then if you're putting it in a separate container to get a better look at it, make sure there's water in that container as well. All right, so we're going to put him in there. And you don't have to put the lid on, but this is a magnifying lid. So that kind of gives you an even better perspective. And we found a fish, not an aquatic insect. So everything you take out of the water, remember, has to go back in the water. So this is where our spoon comes in. All right, so you're ready to start kind of moving vegetation around, looking for things that are moving when everything else isn't. And so you can use your spoon to kind of look through your sample, look underneath things. Anytime you have a leaf or something like that in your sample, flip it over, look on both sides. And so let's say I've looked at this piece of vegetation and there's nothing on it. Am I going to just toss it over here in the grass? No, because there might be something on it that we just didn't see. So make sure you either put it back in the water or leave it in your sample until you're done collecting. So we've got our water sample. I encourage you, before you add anything to it, as I said, there's already stuff in there, look in and look for movement. All right, so everything's starting to settle now. Look for something that's still moving when everything else is still. And now we're going to use our net and try and add some things to our water. And a lot of aquatic insects or macroinvertebrates will hide on vegetation or debris in the water. So that's what we want to get in our sample so that we can find them. So I'm just going to come down here again to the edge of the water, and I'm just going to scoop, and my net is on the bottom, just dragging on the bottom. And see, I've got some good stuff here. And then you're going to dump it in. You'll hold your net down in the water. Make sure you get everything off as best you can. Okay, we'll see if there's anything stuck on the net. And I think we're good. Remember, you're going to be finding, not always, but you'll be finding a lot of the larvae. So when you see those larvae, they may not share all the characteristics of those adult insects that we talked about. They're not going to have wings if they live underwater. But we've sampled here, and we've caught a couple that we want to show you. And so one of them, so we talked about dragonflies. If you saw in one of our earlier clips, we had a close-up of a dragonfly. Have you ever seen a baby dragonfly? Well, a baby dragonfly does not look anything like their mom or dad. And so in this sample here, in this jar, we've got several baby dragonflies. And I think what I'll do is try and scoop one up so you can get a better view of it. Let me see if I can get him. There we go. Nope, he's... Okay, so this is a dragonfly larva, also known as a baby dragonfly. And a lot of times when people see them, they think they look kind of like a spider. But remember, how many legs does a spider have? And they live underwater, and they'll eat other bugs until they crawl out and shed out of their skin, just like the cicada that we talked about. And then they become an adult dragonfly. So if you've never seen a baby dragonfly, there you go. And we have another one here, and you can kind of see once they're in the water, they tend to kind of spread their legs out a little bit. I don't know how well you can see that one right there. Every species looks different. Now we have one other baby insect in here, and I've got to kind of fish around for him because I don't know where he went. Let's see if I can find him. He's probably loving this piece of bark. Where did he go? Oh, there he is. Okay. So he's camouflaged on this bark too, and very well, and they're really good at that. Okay, so if you saw one of our earlier clips, we showed a damselfly. Do you guys remember the damselfly? Guess what? This is a baby damselfly. They don't look anything like their parents, do they? But you can still see the 6 legs. And those things on the very tip of the abdomen that look like tails, guess what? Those are gills. That's how the damselfly larvae breathe underwater. Those are their gill structures.